I had a great day yesterday. My wife and I, my lovely wife and I, we traveled down from Maine to be here.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about dogs. And the wonderful experience I had last night in relation to my new feeling of wanting to get a dog for myself, because part of the...
Now, before you go further, give us more description of how that idea felt when it came. In other words, there you were, all tuned in, tapped in, turned on, in the receiving mode, and then the idea came. Give us more about that.
About the dog.
About the feeling, the feeling and about your feeling of exhilaration about it.
The feeling of the dog was, that would be so fantastic for me to have that experience, and it came from listening to one of your recordings about dogs being pure source energy and unconditional love personified.
Yeah.
And I wanted that in my life for once.
Dun, dun, dun.
I didn't mean to go downhill with that.
Well, we're just teasing you a little bit in that we just had a conversation about unconditional alignment, and this sounds a little conditional, but there isn't anything wrong. That's why we wanted to have a conversation about, was it the receiving mode? Were you tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and the idea of something that would keep carrying that feeling on? Is that where it came from? Or are you tired of not feeling that way, and so you're in the receiving mode of something that can drag you out of the doldrums finally? Now, we're exaggerating, but was it more like this, or was it more like this?
That's a very good question.
Yeah. All of our questions are very
yes.
good.
At the time, it was probably more like this.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, the more it feels like it's coming
Well, the more
up
you
here.
think about it, the more you want it to have been this. But which was it? In other words, if you're looking for somebody to bail you out of negative emotion,
yeah,
then you're going to take yourself with you, and you're going to find the only dog on the planet who has a bad attitude.
Very good. I see that.
He's going to come from some shelter, and he's going to have been abused, and he's going to be afraid of you, and he's going to say, show me that you're going to be nice to me, because I don't believe it yet. And you're going to say, yeah, well, I feel the same way about you.
Okay. I understand what you're saying.
We are really enjoying having this conversation because everyone gets it, don't you? When you get an impulse or an inspiration to do something, a feeling that you want to do something, you're always in some receiving mode. In other words, when you're ornery, you're in a receiving mode. Right. And when you're depressed, you're in a receiving mode. And when you're in exhilaration, you're in a receiving mode. And so it always feels like a good idea from where you are. But as it plays out, we really don't encourage taking action that is that involved in your life experience. Like, don't pick a mate, and don't move to another country, and don't even bring a furry friend into your home unless you're sure that you're in this receiving mode. Because trying to compensate for the way you feel, you just bring yourself to the equation, and usually it ends up just amplifying where you are.
Very good. I appreciate
really good
that.
Conversation. Something more?
Only just that I would like to share real briefly. Yesterday, in following up on my good day, I was in bed last night and I was meditating with one of your meditations and doing okay with it, and my thoughts still wander, but that's understandable. At the end of the second one, all of a sudden, dogs just burst into my mind. And I had a book with me that my daughter gave me, and it was about your dog is your mirror. So I've been pondering that.
So we were just talking about, isn't it?
Yes, it's exactly what we were talking about.
And so you were having a premonition of this conversation.
I guess I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of that last night.
Yeah.
But what I ended up with is just a one-sentence quote I'd like to read, because it was astounding, and it just felt so good. Every action, this is just talking about the dog, every action is emotional, and all emotion begins with attraction. Ooh, don't do that. a non-cognitive physiological pull towards something an animal desires, simply because the feeling of wanting that object makes the animal feel good. It said to me, this man knows something about the law of attraction, and it sounds
Yes,
like he's been
for
listening
sure,
to Abraham.
For sure he knows. But think about the most important part of that statement. The dog is in the receiving mode.
Right.
Yeah, in this receiving mode. And so read it again? Never mind.
Right. Says the same thing that you say. Everything that the dog wants is in response to the fact that it knows
He knows he will feel
feels
better in the having of it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And that's what I went to sleep on last night.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Well, spend a little time acknowledging what we've talked about here. We can feel that you are in a place of understanding. And if that impulse continues to persist from your place of being certain where you are, then it's a good idea to follow through with the inspired action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
We've enjoyed